Use the Force, Luke.
Live long and prosper.
I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Shut up and take my money.
By Grabthar's hammer, what a saving.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
X never, ever marks the spot.
Winter is coming. You're a wizard, Harry.
Stay a while and listen.
Hey ho, Kermit the Frog here.
Bow ties are cool.
So say we all.
This is a Play on Nerds. Welcome to episode 192 of the Play on Nerds podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jarman.
I'm the other co-host, Steve, and as we've been doing this for a long time, we're here to co-host the hell out of this.
We are, and because this is a very actual special episode, this is our 10-year anniversary episode for the podcast.
That's right. The day before this will be releasing, on March 14th, was the release of our very first episode 10 years ago.
Which is pretty crazy to think about.
That is nuts, right?
Absolutely. And I think, and to honor the occasion, actually, Steve just got a brand new microphone for this episode, basically starting now with the 10-year anniversary. That's pretty awesome.
That's right. This is now my fourth microphone.
Fourth. Okay. Gotcha.
Because remember, I started with that really nice one my mom gave me.
Yeah.
It had that wonky box thing, and I used it in Brooklyn. I think I gave that to you.
I have it in my room right now.
Yeah, it's a nice microphone.
Yeah, it's nice. It's like a good backup to have in the room because it's a large diaphragm. You can use it for audiobooks and stuff like that too. But now we both have the same brand, Shure microphones, and they're great for podcasting. And I'm excited for Steve to have it.
And then I had the Snowball one that was the ball. That one was rough.
And it's a good, like, okay one for like a group setting, but the one you had last was decent for, podcasting and stuff starting out. But this one, the one you got now is a
the last time I had one is also blue. And what I found is this one, it just sounds rounder and warmer.
Yeah. And
there's so much less of like the hissy liveness of the room I'm in.
Oh yeah. And you just sound more crisp and clean and everything like that put together. So
see, we're like grown up podcasters now.
Yeah. And,
we did it.
And in honor of this 10-year anniversary, we're going to do something kind of fun. For you listeners, maybe who haven't been here since the beginning, we're going to play our first episode and just pause it as needed to make comments and just listen to episode past. But we're going to be listening live with you for the first time in a very long time. So we'll be pausing it and listening and saying things over the top. So it's not just us playing the episode as a repeat. But it should be interesting to hear what we sounded like 10 years ago.
So before we get into it, though, I want to ask you, what do you remember about do you remember anything about the first episode?
So one memory that sticks out is I think I recorded it in my mom's office. So she's an immigration attorney.
That sounds right.
And I had just moved back to Orlando from Atlanta, and I didn't really have anything set up I was staying at home with my parents at that point because I hadn't.
That's right. You had your booth there for a long time.
Well, yeah, that was even later on. I didn't even have a booth or anything yet. So I hadn't even started really jumping into fully recording stuff.
I remember when you moved your booth in there, and then I think it flooded your parents' office at one point.
Well, my house had flooded. That's why I moved.
Oh, man.
Well, first what happened was I had an office, actually, that I was renting out. So I had my full studio. This is much later on after our first episode, though, because our first episode...
We've just been through a lot over the course of the show.
Our first episode before I even had a booth or anything, I was just starting out. But... yeah, so it was just me recording at her computer in her office, and I brought a nicer microphone with me and plugged it in, and that was the end of it. Like it was so ramshackle at that point because we were just wanting to get it started. But yeah, I don't even remember what our first episode is about because I didn't look.
I know the topic, but only because I saw a thumbnail.
Is it the Critters one?
So this was a Copycat Cinema, which was the cornerstone of the show for a while.
It was.
And yeah, Critters versus Gremlins. And the one distinct thing I remember and the lesson that we learned that I think we've continued for that day is I think we decided that you were going to do Gremlins and I was going to do Critters, despite the fact that Gremlins is one of my favorite movies.
Right.
And that was like a mistake. And I think we realized that. And since then we've leaned into like, let's talk about the thing that we're good at and the thing we know more about.
And that's why we had Muppet Trek spawn out of things because, like, what are we passionate about?
But so the lesson we learned this episode has gone on, and I'm very excited to see what other lessons we've learned.
Oh, yes, I'm sure there are plenty. And
So-
you were living in Seattle at the time, probably still?
No, by the time we were recording, I was in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
I think.
And I was in Orlando. I hadn't been there in 8 years, and I had just moved back to Orlando.
Yeah, Anna and I think we're living in our place down in Crown Heights when we started recording. Yeah.
Yeah, good times. You had one window, I think, in that place.
We had 2 basement windows, and they both faced out into like the alleyway.
You've come a long way.
We have.
You have a home now.
I have a house.
And I'm renting out a home with my wife. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's right. You have a wife.
And now, so we'll get it started. You'll hear our old theme song that we had for a year and a half, probably 2 years, maybe something like that. Another royalty-free classic. So you ready to get started?
Yeah, man, this is going to be blessed from the past. I still remember it.
All right, here we go.
Hello, this is Jarman,
And this is Steve.
and welcome to A Play on Nerds. Episode 1, pilot episode.
Episode 1. Welcome. The novice episode.
Well, we are novices at this point, aren't we?
Oh, boy.
Painfully so.
Yes.
Anyways, I'm Jarman, and I am a nerd, and Steve here is a nerd as well, and we just want to share our nerdness with you, and hopefully eventually you will share it back with us.
Nope.
Other nerds, and we can all be nerds together.
Because that's what we really want, is nerd community. Just to
Yep.
build it up and
Yep.
tear it back down again.
So time for introductions. I'll go first. I'm Steve Bauman. I am a nerd, and I work for a tech company as an administrator in New York.
It's a secret.
I've been doing so for the last
It
3
was.
years. Jarman.
And I'm Jarman Daybon. I worked for a giant news organization in the past, and it's crushed my soul because there's no creativity in that industry. I mean, it's a great company. I'm sure it's great. Anyways, in case everyone there is listening. But now I do voice acting, audio books, and hopefully in the future some more animation and commercial stuff. So that's what I do.
Kind of
I'm
happy.
a huge nerd, mostly.
Yep. And Jarman and I have been nerds together since we were 10 when we met.
Prove it.
We have known each other
What does that
for
mean?
how many years then?
I don't know.
It's been
Almost 18?
Oh, yeah, 18 or 20 years.
17 or 18.
And
Yeah.
we're not even that old, so that's impressive.
Yeah. That's almost 3 times
All
our
right,
age.
pause.
Yeah.
All right, we're old now, though.
Now we're old.
Man.
Now it's almost 30 years. So we know each other.
God. My eyes. All right. I love that song. Don't get me wrong. I love that we really didn't know when to come in.
Yeah. They're so
Or it's
unsure of
possible-
ourselves.
But you were still editing at this point, right? Like actively editing?
Oh, I had to go through and edit everything bit by bit. I think the whole recording was like 2 hours. So I had to go back and it's now like 1 hour or something, an hour and a half.
Well, not only that, we had to record our audio separate for a real long time.
Yeah, and I put it together after the fact. It was a huge pain in the butt.
Once we started recording live, that changed everything.
It just made everything so much smoother. Oh my god.
We've had a couple like no edit episodes even.
Oh yeah, because we
Like Muppet Track, we've hit it perfect a few times.
it comes with practice. 10,000 hours. I think we've got the 10,000 hours.
Is that really the thing?
You become an
Is it,
expert
like,
at something.
Expert? Oh man. I'll do some rough calculations at some point and break both of our heads.
Yeah. If not, we're at least halfway there.
That's right. All right, I think we can, unless you have something else.
No, let's go.
That
Let's do it.
song, man.
Think about that, Jarman.
That's
Think
true.
about that math.
Wait, that's
Scary
almost-
math.
That's 3 times our age? How could we have known each other 3 times our own age?
Well, no, I mean,
That makes no sense.
we've known each other for
Oh, time travel. I understand.
time
You're,
travel.
you're going for the
Doctor.
sci-fi angle.
No. So we've known each other 2 times as long as we haven't known each other. That's the way I think of things. I think of
okay.
fractions.
Way to go, mind, working that special way.
2/3, and then it all just translated wrong.
So yeah, since we were kids, we loved the nerdy stuff. Playing lots of video games growing up. Steve here was really into Pokemon, isn't that right?
Yeah, I did. I did the Pokemon thing. The games, red, yellow.
We're
blue,
like trying to
all of them. I still do
justify
them
it.
now.
Yeah.
There's a
All of
website on
Pokemon to
I swear we're
Netflix,
nerds.
didn't they?
They did. Oh my gosh! And I watched the first, I think, 10 or 12 episodes
Oh gosh.
of the classic one.
Is there just one
We all-
series or is there a bunch of them?
There's only one series I care about. But there's also, I think, a movie that's been added, and then maybe maybe a small series of
pause.
some sort.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not.
How long have we been talking? Are we going to talk about Pokemon in this episode?
Well, we said we were nerds about
God.
14 times, so we had to back it
I
up somehow.
know. How funny is it that like we at the time felt like we had to justify ourselves?
We have nerd cred, I promise.
Now I literally just tell people, I'm like, I've been co-host of a podcast about Star Trek and the Muppets for 4 years now, and they go, oh, okay,
That's
like,
nerdy enough.
there's-
Okay.
yeah, nothing else has to be said.
We're unsure of ourselves. We're just little 28-year-olds or whatever the hell old we are. I don't know how old I am.
Oh, we're babies, basically.
Not willing to explore that. I want to watch all the stuff I remember and love, and then give up.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep. Pokemon. Big on Muppets. Anything Muppets growing up. Jim
Hey.
Henson.
There you go.
some Dark Crystal. Fraggle Rock. Anything.
I think that
Muppets.
makes you very unique because if you meet Steve, you'll see this very large, barrel-chested man who his entire life has been into Muppets.
Oh man, this hurt my heart.
What?
So I just went to visit my parents, and I've had this wallet forever, and my mom has been offering to replace it forever. And this wallet is a green wallet on a chain. I think Jarman has seen it.
Oh, I love that wall.
With Oscar the Grouch on it. And I love
That
this
thing
wallet
lasted
to death.
forever.
And finally this trip, it's been falling apart, and it's going to die soon.
Oh.
So I let her buy me a wallet, and I finally replaced Oscar the Grouch.
Do you have a boring adult wallet now?
I do. It does have a money clip on the outside, which makes me feel dangerous and cool.
Because you have to have that 1990s grunge chain on your wallet at all times, right?
Okay, so people make fun of the chain, but I have not lost my wallet once in 5 years.
Hey, that's
one.
Do you still have a wallet with a chain on it, Steve?
I do not, but I do swear by that. Like in my 20s, having that wallet on that chain, like I saw peers all over the place. Oh, I dropped my wallet. I put it on my wallet. Oh, it fell out of my bag. Nope. Never, not even one time.
Now you just have the money clip still.
That's right.
Good
No, I just got a rolled up thing of ones with a 20 around it and a rubber band.
for the strip club.
I keep it in a sock.
One time
That says
in
something.
5 years because of that chain. So you guys can all sit on it.
Hey, I haven't lost a wallet in 5 years either, and I don't have a chain.
Shut up. It's because you got memories and things.
Memories and things. All right, so from Muppets, you went where from there?
Muppets, theater in college. So I've got theater nerdy stuff under my belt.
That's where I'm a
and
nerd.
Plays and quotes and all sorts of other shenanery.
Shenanery.
I've been playing World of Warcraft almost continuously for 9 years now. I can not say I consider myself an expert on the game, but I've certainly seen it change the entire way through and remember things from way back that no one else remembers how hard the game used to be, blah, blah, blah. And that's pretty much brings you up to current day where I work for a tech company in New York. I've been doing so for 3 years and now work as an administrator, moving boxes and inventories and that sort of thing.
Do you still play any video games?
World of Warcraft. I've got to get my Xbox updated because I want to go buy South Park Stick of Truth,
Yeah.
which looks great.
So long ago.
I play a little bit of Diablo 3 from time to time to break it up.
Whoa.
And then when I have
Wow.
Oh, wow. Dated references. Oh, my God. We're old.
And you're just playing Diablo 4 today.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
no internet because the weather is very poor, I break out the game The Movies, which Jarman will remember.
Oh, yeah, you still play that?
Yeah, I have it on my because it's
Wow.
it's one of the only games I have that I can play without needing internet connection.
I didn't think about that part.
So there's no internet. I play The Movies.
It's a very addicting game, and then it'll suddenly piss you off, and you'll want to stop.
All right.
playing.
Hold on. Pause real quick.
It's also
Get it?
about
Okay. I just thought about movies 4 days ago for the first time in years. And I remembered I bought it on the App Store, which I'm talking about here. So I went to the App Store on my Mac, opened it up, downloaded it fine. It isn't playable on the new M versions of the check. It's an Intel only. So I can see the icon, the game is there, but I can't play.
Oh no.
Literally just 4 days ago. It's such a coincidence it's in this episode.
That's so weird. It was such a fun game. It was like The Sims, but just for a movie studio. It
I
was.
remember I would sit over your shoulder and we would like co-play.
My God.
Oh man.
Memories.
Oh,
There-
I don't
there
know,
becomes a
8 years
point-
old now.
When you have like, anytime you get like 4 or more actors and things just go downhill because they all just start crying about something. It just makes you angry the whole game. It's terrible.
Yeah, kind of like The Sims. It'll piss you off in similar ways.
Yeah. You can't burn them alive. So that's the
Oh,
downside. Damn.
Well, my geek cred comes from same thing. Growing up with Steve here, we made lots of movies. Very much geeked out about that, the making of these movies and writing the scripts and these horrible costumes and that kind of thing. And that led into my adult life. I went to film school, and then didn't use that degree. I went to
Hey,
yeah.
I use my theater degree every day when I act like I give a shit.
There you go.
That's a
I
good
still
one.
use that
Every
line
day.
all the time.
Yeah,
All
I
the time.
actually, after a bad breakup a few years back, maybe 5 years ago, I says I'm just gonna delve into this. And I started watching Star Trek, and that was my gateway drug into this world. And I watched every single episode. Eventually, I became obsessed with it, and now I also co-host a podcast called 10 Forward.
Hey.
Occasionally,
Hey.
it's a Star
Gotta
Trek
get the plug in.
podcast. Be much more serious podcast as far as compared to this, but
Hey, we're very serious over here. Thank you
course.
very much.
yes, of course. But I still try to play video games occasionally. I've been trying to catch up on Mass Effect and God of War, these things that people have been playing for years, and do a little bit of League of Legends when I shouldn't be, when I should be working. But I also still love movies. Both Steve and I both love movies. So
Tell me about League of Legends. People at work try to convince me to play it.
well, as anyone out there who does play this will know, it's a game that you have to have a thick skin for because, unlike most games you play where you might hear people talking in your ear who are angry 13-year-olds and they're just kind of funny when they yell at you because they're 13. This game has a bunch of angry 20-somethings and 30-somethings probably, but they're just people. If you play this game poorly, you will be railed into the ground with every curse word imaginable.
It's true.
And any kind of name you could have ever been called. And so you have to, if you said not care about that, you can play.
So I'm noticing what you said when you're listening to earlier episodes that my voice just sounds more pleasant and younger.
Yeah,
and
you're
just
kind
sweet.
of a little bit more up here, and
Yeah, just kind of like there's like a niceness to it and a gentleness.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, how's it going? Life is taking hold.
I talk for a living.
Because does it show?
But other than that, it's fun. It's like a Dota tower defense type of game where you pick a
I
character.
mean, it sounds like a great online community that I'm looking forward to joining.
Well, it got so bad that the game developers invented a system where at the end of each round, you can award honor points to people. Like if your team was honorable or friendly, you can give them honor points. And I haven't found yet what they're for, but apparently you can turn them in for something or it just looks good on your profile. So that has encouraged better behavior. So if somebody is a total asshole, you can now report them and say they have a negative
maybe
attitude.
by doing that you get put with people of your own honorability level.
I would like that because I like being
So that
friendly.
people with low honorability can be in a game together and scream at each other and call each other awful
Oh, that'd be
names.
wonderful.
And everyone else that has good language can play together.
And I had good friends that I played this with, and all of a sudden they turned into a monster and started screaming at me because I wasn't playing well enough. So I stopped playing for like a year and a half.
See, it sounds terrible to me because I always need a lot of time to adjust in a game. And isn't it true that there's just always different classes that you have to play?
Sometimes, yeah. And if you don't play that class when it's needed, they'll yell at you for not playing that class.
I don't get it. I mean, that's the thing. I just don't.
But it's
That
good now
sounds
because
overwhelming.
the honor system's helped a lot. Because I haven't played in a while, I realize it's a lot different now. And
And do you have to play with a microphone?
Yeah.
oh no,
Roll
I'm
queue
just talking about the
saved a
typing
lot of
at
that.
you and saying these things.
That's true.
They'll
Oh.
say
Oh,
F
okay,
you,
never
you
mind.
suck.
Then yeah, I can. Oh, well, fuck that then. Yeah, I can handle that. See, I thought you meant they were going to be yelling in my ear.
Oh,
which,
no,
I
no.
wouldn't be able to do that. Oh no, I've been playing WoW for 9 years. I've seen everything.
it's huge flame wars basically in that game. But it's fun. I want to get Titanfall, which is this new game that just came out. But it's a first person
for-
shooter, which I'm always bad at, but I don't care. They're usually fun.
Yeah. Hey, I remember back in our TFC days.
Oh yeah, I still play some of that too. Team Fortress 2. It's free.
TF2. I know it's free. I don't know. No, thank you for me.
It's fun when it's late at night or if you're drunk. So
TFC was so great and had so many great dynamics, and they got rid of almost every single one of them for TF2.
I'm going to pause right there. Jarman, past Jarman, stop drinking. You drank too much for 10 years. Jesus Christ.
I could only think there's only a couple episodes where you're like sloshing.
There are a couple episodes out there like that. Yeah.
That being said, we're also going to come up to like right in this span is probably the time I also smoked some of the most weed in my life.
Mm-hmm.
This episode, like the first 10 to 15, it's like if we listen to them, I'm sure there's somewhere I'm just like,
That's one thing I want to tell my kids. Is like when they get to be closer to their 20s, like, sure, experiment with, alcohol, safe drugs, not the crazy ones, but just be careful because your 20s, it's really easy to take it out overboard and just do too much. And you don't want to waste away your whole 20s and early 30s and that crap. It's not worth it. Anyways, how to get that message to my past self. There we go.
I'm sure he'll hear it someday.
Yeah.
I think so. It has a similar feel of like, and kind of comic, ridiculous feel to it.
I don't know, but I mean, I remember the skillet. So, this is just back in the day. For anyone who remembers Team Fortress Classic.
Of course.
The skillet took to conch jump.
Ah, yes. Well, I still have that for rocket jumping.
I know, but then the skill of also grenade jumping and that sort of stuff, spent countless amount of time. I remember I spent hours running like these private servers that had courses on them.
Oh, gosh.
Where you had to skill conch jump across these courses.
I feel like I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing I'm pissed they got rid of is the spy in the classic version could play dead. And in this version, they changed it to where he has an invisibility cloak.
Well, if I remember correctly, there is an invisibility watch or something. One of the accessories that when you cloak, it makes it look like you die.
Oh, well,
yeah, this is nerdy.
But it's one of the special items you have to work to get.
Ah, okay. For the Team Fortress 2?
I believe so.
Oh, okay.
I got
I believe
Team Fortress 2 for a while and tried, but it just...
Well, we should play together
had
sometime.
no plan.
Yes. So now I play a little bit of that. I want to play Titanfall, like I was saying. Titanfall looks really fun. You jump into, if you haven't heard of it, you basically can walk around a regular...
a big mech kind of game, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like Call of Duty, but then they added the effect of there being mechs that fall from the sky, and then you can jump in them, and they're all Titans, and you can fight the other Titans, or you can just shoot the other people who are still on the ground, and you can double jump with rocket packs and kind of parkour off the walls and stuff. So it's really beautiful game too, but...
So you're like, your team probably has to fight to control the Titan or something like that?
Well, each person is a pilot, so each just call their Titan, and once they're destroyed, they can wait like 10 minutes, and then they get another Titan to send down. So
this game failed miserably.
Is that exclusively their Titan?
I mean, you pick which kind of Titan you want, but you don't have just one. You can.
But I mean, can someone else take my Titan?
I don't know. That wasn't really
Grand
clear
Theft
from the
Auto
play
style.
videos. It's possible.
That's what I want to know.
I know you can jump on top of a Titan and start pulling out its guts, like from the top, so you can basically shut it down by pulling out the wires, which is kind of like reminds me of an AT-AT from Star Wars or something.
So the point is try to get to the top of the Titan and disable it?
Yeah,
or maybe take out
an anti-Titan gun. You have like a big rocket launcher you can shoot at it and stuff, which is pretty cool.
True.
So anyways, yeah. That's
We're
my
nerds.
nerd thread.
Yeah.
We're both nerds.
Yeah.
That's how we do things. All right. So
All right,
we're going to break
pause.
into our first segment.
Oh,
The
pause. You
feature.
said pause. I didn't hear you.
Pause.
There you go.
So far, this is just awful. just the worst.
Slow paced, just easing into it.
We didn't write or think of anything we were gonna say. Really,
We had to find our footing. The first season's always rough.
we didn't even put shoes on. Like, let's just put that. Like, we didn't even do the basics.
We
on
left the
this
house
one.
without our camping gear to go camping. Oh, well, here we go. Something's changing.
So while we are figuring all this out and figuring out what people like, we're going to try a lot of short little kind of segments and see what sticks and see what people like.
See, there you go.
So here is our first one. Jarman will introduce it because I think he still has the name written out, which I not. Good.
Our first segment from our first show of the pilot will be Copycat Cinema, or CCC as we call it in the hood.
Oh, God,
The
Jarman,
3C.
no.
Ugh.
Don't say
The
things like
3C?
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So in this segment, we
Canceled.
seek to discuss films that were released during very similar times and have very similar themes or elements, and in some ways were made to steal the other one's thunder box office wise, and discuss which film is superior.
With totally valid logical arguments.
Because we have reviewed both of these films. So today's offering, Jarman.
Today is the epic battle of Critters versus Gremlins.
Gremlins, of course. Two creature features from the 80s.
Little creatures.
Little creatures, both very menacing, big mouths.
And apparently both from space.
Yep.
What were some of the other similarities you're mentioning?
Oh, so yeah. So as I was watching these, because I'm very, very, very familiar with Gremlins, but Critters is one that I've seen a few times, but not recently. So I was watching it and realized how many similarities there were between these two movies.
So it's a perfect copycat cinema.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them feature town drunks, who are friends with the main character, who's like a boy. Both of them have a beloved pet that helps to drive the story.
I like how we about this
Barney.
up front.
We what?
That we talked about this up front.
Yeah. instead of doing like the recap first or whatever.
Giving people context and then doing the thing.
Logic,
Oh man, we so dumb.
Dumb and young. I won't finish that.
All right,
In
sorry.
Gremlins and Chewie, the cat, in Critters.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them have disbelieving town sheriffs who don't get on board until it's too late.
As usual.
In both of them, the town drunks are like paranoid about people watching them and conspiracies and that sort of stuff. Both of them are from technically both creatures are from space. In Critters, they are from space. They break out of a space prison. They steal a spacecraft and crash land here. Yeah, a ridiculous space prison with a shark guard. It looks like. And in Gremlins, I over the years have acquired a book that was originally released with the movie that was based on the original script, which was changed vastly throughout the course of the filming. So the book is not anything like the movie, really. And in the book, they talk about how gremlins are, in fact, from space and were engineered and sent to Earth and blah, blah, blah. So
you have read this book.
I have read this book. It's one of my favorite collectibles.
I'm glad we're establishing your immense nerddom this far.
Oh,
yes.
So
that one felt okay.
Besides Muppets, Gremlins is probably the only other thing that I am truly on a fanatical level about, which is why I had to argue against it, because it wouldn't be fair to argue for it, because I would just demolish Jarman.
Oh yeah, we didn't really mention that, but we're gonna try to pretend argue for or against these movies and just pick a side arbitrarily.
So Critters is my baby today.
And I'm doing Gremlins. I'm defending Gremlins to the end. Even though I've just watched them all the way through for the first time.
You rat bastard. How long have we been friends? And how
I've seen Gremlins, but it was like on TBS growing up or something. Or
yeah,
TNT,
true.
And it was always like edited and stuff.
The first, for a long time, I had Gremlins recorded off on a VHS. For those of you kids who don't know, a VHS is a tape that you would put into a box. And it would record things from the television onto this brick, and you would keep them. And you had to rewind it. Yes, there was only a certain amount, and you had to rewind it, and it only went back. And it's too hard to explain. Don't worry about it.
Doesn't concern
you'll
you.
never see one again. And it was recorded off, one of the major stations. So I only knew the edited version until I was like 12.
Oh, okay.
And then went and rented it and saw almost a whole different movie.
Because it is quite vulgar and pretty bloody.
In the time, it was quite vulgar.
Yeah.
And because it was kind of marketed as a kid's film and no one knew what to expect, and it kind of ended up being this horror romp comedy, and nobody just knew how to really market it or knew what it was. It still did very, very well in the theaters, but
yeah, I was going to say I thought it did pretty well in theaters. It wasn't like a cult classic or something.
I think it came out the same summer as both Batman and Ghostbusters, and did much better than anybody expected.
Yeah, it's a pretty big summer.
Yeah.
I think it helped that executive producer Steven Spielberg.
That's true, but he wasn't really the tried and true figurehead. That
He'd already done E.T. at that point, right?
Yeah, he did E.T. and he had done Jaws. I guess he was probably at the M. Night Shyamalan.
I think another thing of why we have just meanders, because we have nothing better to do.
Yeah, that's true.
There's no reason to make a real short
First episode,
script.
you said what's like an hour and 5 minutes long.
Something like that.
It took all these episodes for us to realize, like, man, this thing is just taking too much time.
Yes, we got lives to lead.
Shyamalan level.
Shyamalan.
Like right after his second movie, when we still trusted him.
M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong.
And then Unbreakable. And we kind of lost a little bit of trust, and it was all downhill after that.
Hey, I liked Unbreakable.
I still do.
Oh,
No,
yes.
I liked Unbreakable too, but it didn't have the same. And then the next one was Signs.
I will
That
mention
was-
to the audience that I pretty much like almost any movie I see, and people hate me for it. So
Yeah,
You've
so
gotten
Germans,
better.
I don't know.
Yeah, I have got more jaded with age that now I do dislike some movies.
Well, also, I think that we watched some movies that even you have to admit are kind of like
Nutcracker takes the cake.
irredeemable. Yeah, Nutcracker. Oh, that's a 3-sitting movie.
It took us 10 years to get there, but finally Nutcracker
We
cracked me.
found it.
I'm not really an optimist in everything, but in film, it's the one place that he is strict, just unfaltering. He's an faltering film optimist. to the
although
point where
there is one M. Night Shyamalan movie I did not forgive him for, which was The Happening.
Lady in the Water.
I didn't mind Lady in the Water. It was The Happening, which was
Good.
just
I didn't mind Lady in the
horrible.
Water either. Everyone hates it but me.
It was okay. Like, it wasn't offensive. For it was all right.
I like the fact that he told a story. It had a beginning, a middle, the end. There was no crazy twist I had to worry about. It was just a story.
Exactly. Paul Giamatti, good stuff.
Paul Giamatti was great. He had some beautiful acting in it.
But The Happening's inexcusable. That just
Oh,
was...
the Happening. I remember when I worked at Blockbuster. Oh yeah, and I worked at Blockbuster for 2 years. Right at I would call it the fall of Rome. Right after 2008, when the job market was terrible, and right when they got their first reports that they were doing just the worst ever. Right at that time period. So I worked at Blockbuster right at the fall of Rome. It was really bad. And we started making these big deals to carry all sorts of extra copies of things, and we didn't have that many renters. So I remember at one point we received something like 210 copies of The Happening.
What the hell?
They made us take up a full rack with overhead signs and a sign we had to put in the front saying, "Check out The Happening." And we did and we never ever rented out ever.
My God.
To the point where most of us that worked there began referring to it as the crappening.
Yep.
I still
Fairly
do.
accurate.
It was so bad.
Cha.
It's basically a movie where plants kill people,
Yep.
and
It was
Mark
the
Wahlberg takes that seriously.
Say hi to your mother for me, all right?
He stares off into
Ooh,
the
that's my
distance
first sound
a
effect.
lot in this movie.
Hey, Plants.
So if that's your
Dude.
thing,
What are you doing, Plants? Say hello to your mother
you're
for
gonna
me.
love The Happening, ladies and middle-aged men.
Please, Plants are wicked awesome. Don't kill my wife. Say hello to your mother for me.
Get inside.
That
So
might
why-
be the first
so
celebrity
I'll
impression
ask
on the show,
Darren,
too.
why do you
That's
think
right.
Gremlins is the superior of the two films?
Okay,
My
we finally
totally
get to the beat.
Yeah, and we're not even going to discuss what happens in the movies. We just talk about what we liked about them.
Logical, totally academic reasons.
Okay.
Wait, do we
for
really
liking
not
this.
recap?
Judge Reinhold
I don't think so.
is in this movie.
You're right.
Okay. Yeah. I'll give you that one. I'll give you that point.
I saw him, and it made me think about all the times I saw Judge Reinhold growing up on TBS and TNT, different movies. And I was like, what happened
That is
to
what
Judge
he's best known
Reinhold?
for. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
he's like meant for those movies. Beverly Hills Cop 2 and 3, or 1, 2, and 3, maybe. It was in all three of them.
1, 2, and 3, I believe. He might be in 4. I don't know.
That's not out yet.
I thought it was.
It's still not out yet.
They're thinking about
Oh, thank
making one.
God. Oh, good. They've spared the world thus far.
He was also in that wonderful movie where he switches bodies with a child, kind of like Big style.
Okay. I don't remember
Basically,
it,
that's-
but I
that's
would
another
be on board to
copycat.
watch.
That's a copycat cinema we can do, is Big and that movie. There we go.
Another episode, people.
Because they're both in the
We've
80s.
just discovered.
But yeah, I wonder what happened to him. He's kind of just not the
The
star
last
he
time I
once
saw
was.
him, he actually made a short appearance on Arrested Development as himself,
I think I did see that, yeah.
doing a reality show where he was going to be a judge because his name was Judge.
I want that to happen in real life.
Me too. Everyone does.
Please rise for the Honorable Judge Reinhold.
But I don't know after that. That's the last time I saw him in anything.
Well, that's clearly one of the reasons why this movie's superior. Moving right along.
Okay. So here is my reason that Critters is better, because it is just strictly that there are more Critters are more threatening than Gremlins.
Mm.
The Gremlins, they cause a lot of havoc. People get hurt. They confirm that they kill one or two people, really, when it comes down to it.
At least in Critters 1, yeah.
Well, I'm talking Gremlins. But in Critters, they just kill everyone. They eat everyone. They kill 4 or 5 people. They eat everything in their path.
According to IMDb, it says body count:
whatever,
1 cow, 2 humans, and several chickens. But you're right.
All right.
They're
maybe
definitely
I'm taking the full body of the critter work into account because I have seen the other film.
And they're certainly more terrifying than the Gremlins.
Oh yeah, I feel like they're more of an immediate threat. If you're in a room with them, you're going to be killed. Versus a gremlin, I don't know. They might do an impression of some sort of celebrity and then and then scratch at you.
That's very true.
And also, okay, well, I'll save that for my next point.
Okay, that's a good point. All right. Another reason why my favorite scene in Gremlins has to be how much of a badass the mom is. Because start of the Gremlin fiasco, she kills 3 within like 20 minutes. She picks up a knife and a tray table and uses them as a sword and shield and faces off against the Gremlins with no fear. She just wants to save her kitchen.
It is pretty badass.
And she immediately, one's in the microwave, one's in the blender, and what was the other one? Blender first, then the microwave.
I'll help you if you want.
Yeah, what is the third one?
And the one she just stabs to death.
Oh yeah, that's right. Just blatantly stabs it to death. I mean, that's
just stabs it to death.
She is awesome.
Knifes it in the stomach. And if you watch that scene again in the background, you can see it with like the knife in its stomach and it's kind of flailing.
Oh my god.
It's really a little bit disturbing.
See, from that point on, it would have been a much different course to take if she became the protagonist of the entire film and just like single-handedly Rambo'd the entire rest of the Gremlins.
Okay, I'll concede that she's pretty badass.
There you go.
That being said, I could make the same point for the mom in Critters, who is able to help drag after the dad's been like poisoned. He's able to help drag him out, and then at one point they're trapped on the porch, and she is able to get the shotgun reloaded and almost loses her hand trying to grab a shell, and then shoots one of them. She misses a lot throughout the movie, but that's not the point. She tries really hard.
She also screams a lot.
Oh, she screams a lot in that film. So I think that same point could be made for the mother in Critters as well.
More along the lines of our copycat cinema here. There you go.
Yeah.
CCC. Triple C.
CC.
No.
The next point is the incredibly dark turn that Gremlins takes when she starts talking about her father and how he passed away.
Oh, man.
I had forgotten this was in the movie. We're watching it again now, and I was like, holy crap, that's depressing. For those of you who don't remember, if you don't want a spoiler, I don't know why I don't want a spoiler for a movie that's almost 30 years old.
Gremlins, it's 1984. We can talk about
30-year-old movie. Watch it. It's your fault.
Get over it.
So she talks about her father. Why she hates Christmas is because her father was going to dress up as Santa Claus, come down the chimney, and surprise all the kids on Christmas morning. But he falls and breaks his neck and gets stuck in the chimney.
And so they sit and wait at home until there's a smell.
And they check and they think it's going to be a dead animal, and it's their father dead in the chimney.
Santa Claus.
And she says, "This is how I learned that Santa Claus wasn't real." It's like, what the fuck?
Fun fact about that. That was one of Joe Dante's favorite scenes in the entire film. He loved that scene. And up until even the previews, he received pressure from all sides to cut it from the film.
Joe Dante being the director.
Joe Dante being the director of the film. Received pressure from all sides up until weeks before the final release.
I'm not surprised because it was different than the rest of the whole movie.
To cut it. And on your note of Judge Reinhold, another fun fact, immediately before that scene is a scene that's been cut that you can see in the additional scenes on the DVD and stuff, featuring Judge Reinhold. He has locked himself in a safe at the bank, and that's how he escaped them. And the Gremlins got Mr. Corbin, the mean president of the bank. They killed him. And he has gone insane and is talking about how he's going to bank with these little people and how they're going to rule the world, but they're going to need a banker and they're going to need someone who knows how to do money. And
I'm not surprised because that's weird. They
leave him there. They lock him back in there.
You don't hear about his character anymore.
Fun fact.
Yeah, so
I'm
that's
Steve.
the payoff for Judge Reinhold that was not shown.
Unfortunately, he did not get it.
That wasn't even off an IMDb page.
No,
that's what I had in my head.
That's true.
He was cut.
So that's my other point. Yeah. What's your next
Okay.
one?
So I think this is again on I think the critters being cooler creatures overall is they don't have any just obvious stupid weakness, and what I mean is bright light and the gremlins.
Well, they didn't seem
What
to
a
like fire,
dumb-
did they?
Well, I mean, because fire. Who does?
Well, yeah.
It's not
I love fire. I put my hand in all
like,
the
no
time.
bright light is in. I can walk
All right,
through
pause.
flames and explosions.
Yeah.
Something else I'm realizing about this is that we're not comparing the merits of the movies from like writing or content or how they were made.
Yeah.
We're judging like the plots, kind of. We're making comparative values of the plots of the things.
Like little scenes here and there, kind of.
We're not talking about like the soundtrack and cinematography. Like we're not talking about the stuff we talk about more now.
Yeah, like our perspectives have changed, I suppose. Like
But-
what's
but
more important?
Your point was like the mom was awesome. Like that sort of thing.
And your point was they don't have a weakness. Like that's cool.
Yeah. It's just funny. I don't think we approach it that way anymore.
Gosh, we're maturing, Steve.
Oh my God.
Oh, we're old men.
We're getting old and boring.
Or just more introspective and wise.
Nah, it's definitely old and boring.
It can't be that one.
But if bright light hits me, I'm done. That's really limiting.
It is.
Like had the movie taken place in summer instead of winter, where it's how light, 13, 14 hours a day, no problem. No problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
No Gremlins movie. Doesn't matter anymore. So I just think that's much weaker because as far as critters are concerned, they don't have any big weakness. Their big strength was eventually their downfall true.
Yeah.
Their hunger and aversion to eat anything and to try to escape.
I like how the one
Ended up being
critter
the downfall.
eats that piece of dynamite or whatever and just looks like he's fine, but then he's like, and just keels over.
And then it just keels over. It's a sad death. There's a lot of good explosions in that movie.
That's true.
But that's my so just I think the critters are a better creature because they just don't have that wussy downfall.
And they won't sing.
How
the
many
song
more
that will
hours
kill
of
you.
this?
3
Bright
hours.
light.
Oh God.
Okay. Well, my last one. I have other points too, but I was like, I recognize this deputy. It's the deputy guy.
That's my last point.
Deputy Brent. That's because he's
The
the
one or the old one?
the younger one.
Okay.
That's because he's the old scary guy on Breaking Bad. The bald guy with the goatee. Do you watch Breaking
Oh,
Bad?
you are absolutely right.
I was
did
like,
not
holy
put it
shit.
Together till now.
And he's on Community now too, which I love Community. But he took like Chevy Chase's place, which is really funny. But he just looks totally different because I remember I've seen that actor before. I'm like, oh, he's been in lots of movies, but I didn't realize it was the same guy because he's.
Yeah, that you're absolutely right.
Shake his
I
head.
had never put that together before. That's genius.
But it's just
No,
funny
it's
seeing him
not.
in this like kind of dopey role when he's like this scary, intense guy in Breaking Bad.
And the guy who played the older sheriff,
Yeah.
he apparently had a heart attack on set essentially, or some sort of, but didn't complain about it because they referred to him as like an old school actor.
Nice.
And like sat through it and then was in the hospital until right up before the premiere, went to the premiere with an oxygen tank and then died pretty soon after.
Oh, that's really
Gremlins
sad.
Gremlins was his last film.
His swan song.
Yep. His beautiful swan song.
All right. Well, actually, that was
We
my
are
only my
so
fourth one. I have
bad.
another one too. But okay, so what's your next one?
My next one is that in Critters, Critters has a better drunk than Gremlins does.
How many did we have?
Mr. Futterman is fun, and yes, he thinks everyone's against him.
5?
But Charlie thinks that he hears voices coming
I
out of
hope
his
only
fillings.
5.
You legitimately see him drinking multiple occasions. Mr. Futterman, you see drink one time. And even then, he's finishing off a beer. I don't think you
Better
actually actively
drunk.
see him drinking something. And then Charlie, to give up drinking, I think this is part of why he's a better drunk, at the end, goes with the bounty hunters.
Oh yeah, or tries to.
Tries to go with the bounty hunters to make a better him at the end to reform himself. Whereas Mr. Futterman, in later movies, though, in the second movie, though he doesn't drink, he is still a heinous, like xenophobe, essentially.
Oh, Futterman survives?
Futterman. Yeah. In the book and original script, they did not survive. And it certainly looked that way.
Yeah, like
in
the
the
thing
film.
goes right towards them and
Well, no, and then plus he said they got the Futterman, something with a snowplow, freak accident.
yeah.
But apparently later on, when Hoyt Axton, the guy who plays Billy's dad, is driving back with the dog, like right towards the end of the film, over the radio.
Yeah, like this thing where I'm
at some
talking
point,
about
you
your
can hear
movie
them
more than you're
telling the
talking
story
about your
about
movie.
how the Futtermans were rushed to the hospital and
Awful.
stabilized and blah blah blah.
Probably because
Mr.
they
Futterman-
liked his character.
Yeah, but it's so quiet you can't begin to hear it. Joe Dante does a lot of stuff like that in his films overall.
Gotcha.
3 more hours, huh?
Little subtle thing.
Little nuances no one will ever see.
10 more points.
Well, that's what you mentioned, the bounty hunters. That's an argument against your Critters movie. Is that I think I like them. They're fun, but if they were taken out of the movie, it wouldn't change the movie at all. It would be the same exact movie. They don't stop the Critters. They don't actually succeed in anything that they do. The humans are the ones who save everything. So if you didn't have those in the movie, it'd be the same movie. But they make it fun.
They do offer one saving grace moment.
Yeah, like they kind of save the little
Like when
boy
the
at last
family's
minute.
about to really bite it, they're out of options, and then they blow open the door and kill, a handful of critters. They do have that moment. If they weren't there for that, then the family would be dead, and that'd be it.
And they somehow magically restore the house, which I don't know what technology could possibly do that.
Hey, that's space magic. Thank you very much.
Space magic. That's like the Star Wars universe. There's just things that are space magic, not midichlorians.
Space magic.
They're space magic. There are no midichlorians. All right. How was that? Yeah.
So I'm trying to think if I have a final point.
Oh, I have one more, and then you one more. Right?
Oh, God.
Okay, sure.
6 points.
Well, this is actually a legitimate point. Is the Jerry Goldsmith music is very good in Gremlins.
Oh,
Okay.
he is.
There we go.
really-
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's like overdone, which a lot of movies do, which is like there's just the guy and his dog walking down the street, and there's like way too much jaunty music playing for no reason. It's like a 10-second shot.
Ooh,
Like,
music.
okay, there's no reason for this.
But
But otherwise,
when he
it's,
walks inside and suddenly it stops.
yeah, exactly. It was just playing over loudspeakers outside for some reason. But yeah, that was just great music, including the little song that Gizmo sings.
It's true. That became a #1 hit. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think it did.
How's the song go again? Wow, I had no
And
idea.
that's what the people stated.
It was
Vocal
originally
talents for a second.
it was originally sung by a little 6 or 7-year-old girl that went to Jerry Goldsmith's synagogue.
Oh wow,
Is that recording?
there's some trivia. Bam.
There's some trivia for you. All right, so I think both are arguably very good movies. Both are near and dear to my heart.
And it's good. Critters, I thought would be a lot worse, but Critters, it doesn't take itself seriously. That makes it still watchable.
I think maybe this is my final point.
Oh, go for it.
I think that between visual effects, though Gremlins does have a
damn
lot
it.
of very good visual effects throughout. The best visual effect in either film, I think, is in Critters at the very beginning. I think it's during the opening credits when The Power of the Night is playing. And you see oh God, that's the one.
You're welcome.
Power of the Night is playing, and the bounty hunters are transforming for the first time.
Yes, that was intense. That part took a lot of work.
And essentially the first shot is like a skull that they covered in plaster and mold, and then or wax or something, and then melted it. So you get to watch it disintegrate and the skull come up. And then the second one, they did the same thing, except for they did they did a skull with layers of blood wax on it, and then layers of muscle, and they sculpted it all out, and then different layers, and then skin layer. And then they filmed it and melted it just like last time, and then they played it in reverse. So you watch the skin come onto the face and form on the face in a really cool way that I think for 1984 is really a cool, impressive trick.
I actually wrote that down for the movie. I was like, these are some good practical effects. Oh, and Star Trek connection for Critters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Neelix from Voyager.
Do it.
He is the deputy
Yes.
who gets killed.
I saw him, but I didn't know who he was, but I knew that you would.
And Billy Zane with the mullet. That's another.
Oh, yeah, young Billy Zane. That's one of the better. I think that's something we can both agree on for this film.
Yes, that was hilarious.
Young Billy Zane.
He had hair.
Gets killed.
Now
He
we
gets
see.
killed.
Now we see why he shaved his head, because he had a mullet, and that's horrible. But
That's true. We're sorry, Billy Zane, for your mullet. Okay,
yeah.
so that's the end of 3C Cinema, Copycat Cinema. We'll come back with more good.
What were the movies about?
Yeah. Oh my God. We just assumed people knew. But here's the thing. This is weird. This is just like a bit. Like, that's how we were thinking of it at the time. It wasn't the main segment. It was just a thing.
We didn't really have a main segment, I guess.
Yeah. Man.
We've come so far.
We were so young.
Naive.
I think this shit lasted until like episode 30 too.
Yeah, probably. Sorry, early audience. Thanks for sticking with us.
I don't blame you for skipping it.
Yeah, it's okay. Just if you're a completionist, sure. Why not? That one guy on Spotify listened to the first episode and seemed to like it. Oh, that was Muppet Trek. That wasn't this. Never mind.
Yeah, true. Muppet Trek episode 1 will be something else that we'll discuss in 10 years. Or
yeah, and we were already pretty experienced by that point, so we were jumping right on.
Yeah, we were already 6 years in.
Yeah.
And who won this one? Who knows? You guys decide.
You decide. Our giant audience of 4 billion listeners.
My mom will let me know.
She's still
My mom won't even listen to this.
Oh, my mom
doesn't know what this is.
I don't understand. What are you talking about?
So we're going to go on to another segment.
All right. For our next segment of the show, we're going to do something called Black Hole Trivia. Black Hole Trivia.
Black Hole Trivia.
Basically, everybody has a hole in their knowledge of geekdom. Some things they just don't know anything about. Whether they have an interest in learning about that or not. Like, for instance, I don't know that much about the Muppets. Steve knows a lot about that to a nerdy extent. I know a lot about Star Trek. Stephen does not know a lot about Star Trek.
Wow.
So today, he's
Yeah.
going to quiz me on some Muppet things. Yes.
Oh no, I'm going to quiz you
if I
on
know
Gremlins.
them.
That's what
Oh,
I'm
on
got the
Gremlins
questions
things. Okay,
for.
gotcha. He's doing Gremlins questions for me since he's an expert on Gremlins.
Never mind.
I'm going to give him Trek questions. This makes total sense.
Okay, this
You
is
wanna
still
quiz the
exciting,
person
though.
on things they don't know about. But hey, we'll both learn something.
And I tried to pick things that there's at least a chance you'll get.
Same here, exactly. And I'll watch Gremlins again sometime. Watch Gremlins 2.
I haven't.
And I'm sure.
Oh, Gremlins 2 is I like it more than Gremlins.
I've seen
1.
that one more than the first one.
It's the superior film in many ways.
For another episode, another time.
Yes.
We can do a Gremlins 2 and Critters 2 episode.
Oh
We
my
did
gosh,
episode like
the
13 or
revenge.
something.
All right, good.
And I'm going to
Yeah.
make Steven watch more Star Trek eventually. So
Yeah.
Yes.
we'll learn more. The questions will become harder.
Wow.
We'll do
Yes, we
different
go.
topics. We won't always do Star Trek.
We didn't
and
do this
Gremlins,
at all.
but, we'll shake it
Other
up.
areas of our expertise that the other one doesn't know anything about.
But we should. We should do like a trivia thing on Muppet Trek of like now quizzing each other on facts we've learned over time at some point.
Okay, that's an interesting thought.
Yeah. All right.
Exactly. So,
Okay. So my questions today will all be centering around Gremlins,
perfect.
and I will go first. Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So I tried to word these well. If not, I can clarify. All right. What Steven Spielberg movie ripoff, directed by Joe Dante, landed him in the director's chair for Gremlins, which was produced by Spielberg?
So which movie did the Joe Dante rip off?
Yes. Well, what it was, I'll give you bonus points for either.
I'm going to
If you can name
say
the movie.
Wait, what was the question?
So, what movie did Joe Dante make, which was a parody of one of Spielberg's hits, that got him the job?
Oh, maybe of E.T.?
No, so this is a Dante movie.
Yeah, it's like, but he made a parody of E.T. is what I'm saying.
No. He ripped off Jaws.
Oh.
Movie that Joe Dante ripped
With
off, and then the movie that was the
Piranha.
ripoff.
I'm going to say he ripped off Jaws.
That's correct.
Wow.
That was just a guess. But since that was
Yeah,
the
because
big one
that's
from
fair.
back
That was
then.
Spielberg's first big thing.
Yeah. At that point, he really only had like Jaws and E.T. And it's kind of hard
Yeah.
to rip off E.T. But
Whatever, past Jarman,
don't
shut
know
up.
the name of the movie he ripped off, though. What was his movie called?
The name of Joe Dante's film was Piranha. The original Piranha
Oh, yes.
was Joe Dante's ripoff of Jaws, but it was so well done and done in a very sort of B horror kind of way that
On
really,
purpose.
yeah, on purpose, that it really got Spielberg's attention.
Well, now we have Piranha 3D with boobs.
Yeah, originally, when Spielberg was going to do this, they kind of wanted to do Gremlins on the cheap and wanted to do it in that sort of that B horror way.
And they kind of did,
And
but it came out too good.
Well, yeah, but then Joe Dante went in there and went, look, if you want this to work, we have to spend this much time making the puppets, and they have to be able to do these things, and if you want to do this, and so they ended up spending a lot more money on it. I think, than they originally anticipated.
Absolutely. I saw that one scene of the whole theater full of gremlins. Cost a lot of money.
Absolutely. All right. So
All right.
I will give you, how about I give you a half point?
Is there a
I
siren
like that.
going off?
Half point.
Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay, half point for Josh.
Yep.
Okay. Your question.
All right. First Trek question.
Brooklyn.
All
What
right.
is William Riker's transporter accident twin's name?
Oh, we haven't gotten there yet, so you wouldn't know.
Also, this is like an expert level question.
That's pretty hard, Jarman. What the hell? Oh, that's a siren going off in real time. I thought it was in the old episode.
No, that's our volunteer fire department.
Oh, gotcha.
There's much consternation. Apparently, they've tried to get them to update it to like a modern system, like where a computer would notify people by text, and they've been totally resistant to it.
So you set off a siren in the neighborhood where the fire
They
is?
literally, yeah. So the volunteer fire department is literally just up the block from us,
Oh, man.
and they set off this huge thing to call in the guys.
Wow.
But like the community has tried to get them to get rid of it for years.
It's like just send them a text or a phone call.
Right. That's the thing is have a text thing. There's got to be an app. There's got to be a service that does it.
Well, folks, 10-year anniversary. The siren goes off for the first time.
That's right. Well, this used to be a common, a lot of our San Jose episodes when we were living on that kind of bad street-ish.
Oh,
We'd
yeah.
have sirens all the time in the background of those episodes. All the time.
And now you're in a nice neighborhood, so it's fine.
We are. Just things catch on fire sometimes.
Apparently.
That being said, the good news is volunteer fire department's only right up the hill.
He was on
Wow.
he was on a couple episodes of Star Trek Next Generation, and I think one episode of DS9 or Voyager. Now I'm trying to remember, but his last name is also Riker, but he goes by a different name.
Why did I think you'd even have a
Is it
chance
Bill?
of knowing this?
No,
I don't know.
That's William Riker's name. But
No, but I
don't
thought
know,
maybe he
Piranha
would go
wasn't
by
easy
Bill instead
either.
of William.
That's
If he's
true.
a
Good guess.
transporter accident,
Good guess.
like a weird clone. I don't know. That was just a shot. What is it?
Thomas Riker.
Next time, Gadget.
That was probably the hardest one I have. So the rest of
Okay,
it is
good.
easier.
Well, I can only get better from here then. All right, so 0 points and Jarman has half a point. So far, so good.
There you go.
Okay.
That trend continued.
Yeah, it did.
What American film and production company produced Gremlins as its inaugural film?
Oh, I don't think I know this. Amblin Entertainment.
New Line Cinema. No?
You're right.
No.
Shit, that was Critters.
Not old you now.
Take a moment to think about
Yeah.
it.
Oh, is it the one that Spielberg owns?
Yep. Good job, Jarman.
Wasn't
You got
that
there.
DreamWorks?
No, that's
No,
later,
No.
Jarman.
Shit.
You're in the right direction.
I can't remember the name of it. I know the Amblin Entertainment.
There
That
we
is
go.
correct.
Yes.
You
Bam.
went in the right direction once you took a moment to think about it.
Yes, I remember. I was in a little bike, and that's like the ET bike.
Yep.
And it's okay.
It was his first movie that he fully produced.
Woohoo!
Yep. So you have 1.5 points. Good work. bud. All right. Next question for me.
All right, next question. What are the numbers/letters on the front of the USS Enterprise?
Ooh, do you know current Steven?
NCC. Oh God.
You're so close.
17 something.
Yep.
1702. No.
Almost.
No. I don't. NCC 17 something.
01. You're so close.
Oh, 1.
Let's see what your
I
past
was one off. God damn it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, 02.
All versions at least share these particular numbers and letters.
Oh God. Is it NC 117 or something like that?
Hey.
Close. Do you want to
What
think
is it?
about it, or you just have no hope?
No. I mean that's the first thing that comes to mind, so I've got to go with it because if I think about it too much, it'll turn into.
What was your answer?
Like NC 117?
So close. It was NCC 1701.
Wow, 10 years, you
No.
almost got it.
Nearly.
It got a little better.
Okay, I had some numbers in there.
I thought you might have just known that because it's like just in your face a lot.
No,
you know?
that's pretty good.
That was a
I know
fair
I'm not
one.
going to get a point for that, but I feel pretty good about it.
I'll give you a fourth of a point.
Fourth of a
Yep.
point, quarter of a point.
You're getting a
All
quarter
right,
of
I'll
a point.
Like a quarter of a point. All right, so you have 1.5 points. I've got a quarter of a point.
This is going well.
Okay. So you actually brought up this scene earlier, the scene with all the gremlins in the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
What taxidermied animals had to be used in the back of the mass theater scene due to the production not having quite enough puppets to fill the theater?
Like this one, you wouldn't know this either.
No, but I'll guess Komodo dragons.
Oh, Jesus. That's disturbing. I will say like a monitor lizard or iguana of some sort.
Take a moment to think about
Your brain
what
thinks of
gremlins
it the same way. That's amazing.
I know, that's weird.
look like.
They do. They got like a small alligator or...
And so, okay.
That's my guess.
Okay, so I'll take it. Okay, that's your guess. No, it was raccoons.
Oh,
That's taxidermied raccoons. If you look, I have taken the time to look, and they are there.
I'm gonna look up a picture of that from Gremlins.
It's really hard to see. It's really hard to see.
Taxidermied.
All right, so you still have 1.5 points. That's what
Sorry.
matters.
Yeah,
All right.
That did not come up easily in the Google search, so it's gonna be a little harder to find than that.
Yep. I mean, Joe Dante talks about it in the director's
That's creepy.
commentary. Yep.
All right.
Ready
for next
one
one?
of the two. Yep, let's do it.
What is Captain Kirk's middle name?
Does current Steve know?
So his first name is Jean-Luc, right?
Captain Kirk's middle name.
Oh, Kirk. Never mind. James Tiberius Kirk T. Though in an early episode before canon was established, they showed his tombstone with a different initial.
That is correct.
That was.
That's amazing. That's a lot more than you knew back then.
Oh my God, yeah.
Tiberius.
Thank you. I was hoping you would start
Yeah, 1 point.
Or on a very, very
Can I have
trivial note.
1.5 points for how quick I answered?
Hell no. But you get? You have 1 1/4 right now.
1.25 point.
But in one episode of the original series with Gary Mitchell, where he shows Captain Kirk his own grave, it says James.
Hey,
R.
there we
Kirk.
go.
It's like you remembered all these years later, but we also went through that episode of Muppet Trek. So there you go.
Yeah, that's the other
Funny.
thing. That stuff specifically, we've had more time to ruminate on.
That's true. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
But it was just a thing they didn't think about in continuity. So
Okay.
imagine what you will that his name could have been something else. But Tiberius is correct. Good job.
Okay. Good. Yeah, 1.25. So I'm only a quarter of a point behind right now, right?
Yeah.
You have 1.5. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Perfect.
I'll take it.
There you go.
All right.
Quarter of a point behind.
So in the movie Gremlins, there's an initial villain, as there are in many good story arcs, called Mrs. Deagle, who is sort of the shrewd money lender type with no heart. And later on is revealed that she lives in this big empty house with tons and tons of cats.
Yes.
All right, so here's the question. What are Mrs. Deagle's cats all named after?
Oh my gosh, I don't remember this at all.
I think you got this right.
I must, because I just seen the movie, so I must remember. But yeah, literary characters. I don't know.
I know one of her cats was named Dollar Bill.
Oh,
So
Currency?
I'm guessing all money things. Dollar Bill.
That is correct. Currencies.
Currencies.
Ah.
Ding ding.
Hey,
Currencies.
Woo!
One of them is oh god, what is it? Dollar bill. Ruble is one of them.
Kopeck.
God, yen is mentioned at some point.
That's funny.
Yeah.
She could be arrested for the things she said in that movie. Like, I will kill your dog. Like, that's a threat. You can get arrested for that kind of thing.
Yeah, but the reason that think of it in the story wise, the reason that they showed that is to show that she can say those things and no one in town would
Because she's
say
so powerful and rich.
that is the reason, to show that is okay for her to do.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Cool. Means like 2.5 points, right?
And she gets her payoff. Yes, you've got 2.5 points, and I've got 1.25.
All right, here's a good one. You might get this. You get double points if you can get both answers.
Okay, I'll take it.
Or 1.5. We'll go that far. It's not that hard.
Oh, God damn it.
Okay.
All right.
What position on the ship is Geordie LaForge during the
He's chief
TNG run?
engineer.
Okay, and here's the second part of it.
Oh, well, yeah. You know.
And what position did he start as?
Oh, does current Steve now know this?
He was the helmsman.
I think you're right, yes.
I think he. I
You
think.
can get that.
Think what?
I think that's what he was.
Yeah.
That's what he is right now in theory.
He was like the Chekhov position, basically, the helmsman. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess he was driving.
It was
I feel
kind
like
of
Data does that a lot too, but I might be thinking of later episodes.
no, and it's kind of vague in the first season. They're still figuring that out. So he kind of has
And
like,
doesn't Wesley do it sometimes too?
yeah. Now that he's like an ensign, an acting ensign.
So maybe that's my confusion.
Yeah, that's a fair confusion.
At that point, you get an extra half point if you get this.
Like start as in Starfleet.
No,
Or on the
when
ship.
the show first started, he wasn't the chief engineer. He was something else.
Communications officer?
No. Too bad.
What was it?
It was funny because he was the pilot. So
Yeah, helmsman.
they had a blind pilot.
Okay.
But no, you
Yeah,
still
okay,
get a point.
but you get a point. So I have 2
Pilot, helmsman, same thing.
1/4 points. How many do you have?
Yeah.
Right now I'm behind a question, so I still have 1 1/4 points. Or no,
20 questions later.
I didn't give myself a point.
You got
for-
that last one,
yeah,
right?
so I have 2 1/4.
What
There
if
you
I
go.
told you
Two and a
half of
half.
them are unanswerable?
Oh,
You had 1.5.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm looking at your
So
points as my
entertaining.
points. Okay, so you have 2 1/4.
I have 2 1/4. You
No
have 2
wonder this
Okay.
thing's 4 hours long.
So-
Close race.
Yep.
So this is the final question from the Gremlins universe.
There we go.
Gremlins, along with
Thank God.
what other film are commonly credited with creating the PG-13 rating?
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I knew that one back then too, I think.
I don't think you get it here.
I used to know this. The Die Hard?
Oh, Jarman.
No, it is not.
Shit.
But I will give you a chance for a bonus point
Okay.
if you can name the first PG-13 rated film.
Red Dawn.
There you go. Now you know that one.
Yeah.
Came
I don't
out
think we knew it
later
here
later in 1984.
Oh, the one that actually was PG-13. Okay.
The first one to be rated PG-13.
So this Gremlins is one of the movies that helped them decide they needed to make that, is what you're saying?
Yes, because they couldn't give it an R because of its content, but they gave it a PG, and the way they marketed it, once again, was kind of that they had a fluffy little thing, and it was Christmas, and parents were outraged
Of course.
that there wasn't something in between, so that's why they created PG-13.
So what was the first PG-13 movie?
I'll give you a chance for that before I tell you both answers.
I don't know.
Okay, so the other movie responsible for helping to create PG-13 was Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom,
That's right.
because it received a PG, but the guy's heart was ripped out and parents freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
And the first mainstream movie to receive the PG-13 rating officially upon release was Red Dawn.
Oh, gosh. I still need to see
Yep.
the original. I just watched the remake the other day, and it was awful.
I did?
Yeah, it was pretty
I
bad.
don't remember that.
The original has its whimsy, but it's nothing too.
As long as it's a cheesy, fun movie, that's all I care about. But
Yep.
well, that's good. I like that. Learned something today. Learned a lot of things today. All right, so my last question. I did not get that point, so I still have 2.5, right?
Let's do score recaps
Yes.
every
This
second.
is your final opportunity to beat me. I'm
Okay.
beating you by 1/4 of a point right now.
The people want to know who's winning right now.
How often does the Vulcan Pon farr happen?
Every 7 years.
Good job, current Steve.
Do you remember what the Pon farr is?
Just doing
Yes.
the ponfar, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a dance
Every
from the
13
70s.
years.
Oh, wrong.
What was it, you asshole?
Every 7 years.
Oh, okay.
Which is a common misconception. Vulcans can have sex more than every 7 years, but they only have to have sex every 7 years.
Mhm.
Now, that's the kind of
Okay.
factoid that
So I have to
people
clear
need.
that up.
That's
Clear
right.
the air.
That is.
But I win by 1/4 of a point.
Good job.
Yay!
this round.
Wait, I had a crowd for that. There we go.
So we had some sort of soundboard at this point?
So I had a very complicated setup where I could play. I had a soundboard I downloaded off online, and I could play it through a mixing board. So this must have been at the house because I wouldn't be able to bring the whole mixing board to my mom's office, but like it had a feedback. I had all these cords going back and forth to make a whole setup. It was so confusing. But yeah, that's why I didn't end up using it for every episode because it was so complicated and took up so much space, and it was a lot.
God.
So I'm surprised it was on the first episode. I don't remember that. That's crazy because you could hear the sounds. You're responding to them. So
Yeah, that's what I just realized. Just in this moment, I was like, oh, I responded to that.
Yeah, that's weird. The first episode had that. No, that was complicated as hell.
Thanks, children. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, that was fun.
No,
So that was a good time.
that was fun.
All right. So now for our third segment, we're going to play a game that going to call Dead Hands. And it's
this
a name
depressing
dark for the
game.
darkness of the game we're about to play. I am a Muppet aficionado. I consider myself one. I'm a huge fan. I pride myself on knowing a lot about them and having a lot of cool collectibles. And just genuinely love the work that Jim did and the sort of message that he brought to the world and the vision. So this game we are going to play, I'm going to name Muppet characters. Some of them are Sesame Street, some of them are Fraggle Rock, a few other things. And Jarman is going to guess if the person who played them is still alive or not.
That's right.
Which is absolutely horrible and wonderful at the same
It
time.
is. Okay, so tell me, original puppeteer, dead or not, Rizzo the Rat.
Yes, I think.
I mean,
Rizzo the
yes,
Rat.
dead or yes, alive.
I think he's alive. Am I wrong? Well,
I can only imagine rats eating the dead corpse, so I'm going to go dead.
No, he is alive. Steve
Hey.
Whitmire.
Still, Steve
President
Whitmire.
Jarman got it.
10 years ago, that's still true.
Yeah, that's impressive.
No, he's no longer involved with the Hensons.
Oh, I was right that he was dead.
No, you were right. He is alive.
Oh, but now he's not alive.
No, he's alive now. He's the guy that got fired.
Oh,
He's Kermit who got fired.
I see.
At
Okay.
this point, that hadn't happened yet, I guess.
So if the current Jarman got that correct, he is alive. Cool.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Still alive. No good for Steve Whitmire, but still alive.
Yes, bad for me. It means I'm
Yes.
losing this game.
All right. So, are you ready for number 2?
Absolutely.
All right. Miss Piggy.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
God.
he's still alive. Frank Oz.
I'm going to be hopeful and say alive.
Yeah, you're correct. That's Frank Oz, still alive.
Oh, yay. Woohoo. I didn't know Frank Oz and Miss Piggy. I know he did all the other ones, but
Oh,
man.
Jarman.
Yeah.
You
Cool.
sweet little
Yeah.
child.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Teeth of Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem.
I'm going to say he's dead.
Yeah, because who is that?
Oh, I don't know who that was.
It's Jim.
That was Jim? Oh, okay. There you go.
Jim's Dr. Teeth. Dr.
Oh.
Teeth, Rolf, Kermit.
I knew where else he was. I didn't know he was Dr. Teeth. That makes sense.
Your teeth are still around after your body decomposes for a while, so I'm going with dead.
That's correct. That was Jim Henson. Jim Henson himself, Dr. Teeth.
That's depressing.
That's what
Jesus.
all right. Are
We're
you
like
ready for the
radio
fourth?
shock
This is the
drop.
fourth.
I know. It's so bad.
That's right.
Absolutely. I'm getting depressed.
All right. Big Bird.
He was alive at the time. Did he recently die? I think that happened. But yeah, he was going to conventions for a while after this. So, yeah.
Oh, I think the voice has changed on that. I could be wrong.
He
So I'm gonna
was
go with dead.
alive. He is now dead.
Yeah. Okay. I was right.
I'm
right
sorry. That is
Carol
incorrect.
Spinney.
Yeah,
Really?
Carol Spin.
Yes.
Who is it?
It is Carol Spinney or Spiney. I can never know how to pronounce it. He is one of the few original. I mean, I think probably the only at this point. There might be others. Original people from Sesame Street.
Wow, he's still around.
But he's dead now. Wah, wah.
Play that fart cannon noise.
Yes, and he has been doing Big Bird since 1969. He does have an understudy that does like other appearances and that sort of stuff, but he is still the main creative force and I think an executive producer now on Sesame Street.
Got pretty old
Oh.
at this point.
Oh, he is. He is so old. But he loves it, and I think he'll do it till the day he dies.
Oh, no.
That's happy. Like one of my
Yep.
favorite movies is that that Big Bird movie. What was it called? Follow That Bird.
Yeah.
I cry every time I watch that movie. I'm a grown man, and I'll admit that.
That's some sad songs.
I'm a bluebird.
Thanks for asking.
that being one of them. Big Bird painted blue.
Hello, how are you?
It's really
I'm
sad.
so happy. All right. So the final one, number 5. How many did you get?
I don't know.
I think you got 2.
Okay.
We'll have to play back the tape on that one, but I think you got 2.
Yeah.
All right. So, Gobo Fraggle.
Current Jarman has no idea because I don't know who plays the Fraggles yet.
Oh, I forgot that Fraggle's technically a Jim Henson production. Okay.
They are.
Gobo Fraggle. I know that there was, at this past Dragon Con I went to, there was a big Fraggle Rock presence, and 2 people were there who did the voices. I'm going to say alive.
So, that is incorrect. Unfortunately, Jerry Nelson is dead.
Oh.
Just in August of 2012, he had lung problems, and every time I saw him,
God, you are the
he
worst.
he always had an oxygen tank on of some sort.
When did you see him? On YouTube or something?
When he did make
appearances,
because every now and then he would make an appearance on Sesame Street, and we'd see him.
I got you.
But he would always.
It's Jarman and Steve the Boy.
Always have to be in like a sitting position or doing like he couldn't really be active.
That's sad.
But he was originally, I think, a folk singer that Jim discovered and said, "Do you want to do puppet stuff?" And he said yes.
He
and
hadn't
so because
been
of
dead that long.
he
at this
is.
point.
If you watch early
Now he's been dead
Sesame
12
Street
years.
and the Muppet Show, he is 50%, if not more, of the singing in all of that. Everyone else sang ensemble stuff, but he sang lead in so much stuff. It's insane.
And now in his honor, and for all those who passed away,
Yeah, this should be him right here at the beginning.
here we go.
How do I have that queued up?
Some awesome guitar,
No.
rocking out some Fraggles on Blue
Jerry
Street.
Nelson.
Copyright strikes.
We're gonna catch him on this one too. Then
We got to keep talking through it, otherwise.
Memories.
fucking nonstop.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff over the
Fraggle
years.
Rock.
He was also the Count and a couple other very big characters.
Oh, the Count. Cool.
Yep. All right, so you got two correct on one of the saddest quizzes ever.
That really is one of the saddest quizzes.
And I
Wah,
have,
wah.
and there are so many more that we can do this for a long time.
Oh, I think that will be an occasional
But
segment. Unless our
I think
audience
the
says
nice
it's
surprise
depressing.
here was that how many of them I named, they were still alive.
That is happy. At least there's that.
Yep.
And hopefully the ones that are dead at least lived a somewhat long, happy life.
Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully. Probably not.
All right. So what else are we doing?
I think that's it.
Those are like the 3 things we sketched out.
Yeah. That's it for the first recording of a Play on
Natural,
Nerds
clean ending.
Yeah.
pilot
Excellent.
episode.
First, a play on nerds. We'll see what sticks.
We'll see what sticks. We'll see what else we want to play with. And we'll hopefully start a presence on social media somewhere. Hopefully
Yeah, we
people
gotta
will
decide.
listen. And
Hey, we started
more
it.
episodes.
Kind of.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us on
We
a play on
tried hard
nerds.
for like 2
I'm
years.
Jarman.
And I am Steve,
Yeah,
and we hopefully
tried
will see you
harder.
next time.
See you then. Play us out.
Oh, man. We had no sign off yet or anything. We're just little boys.
Man, that was something. We really didn't know what we were doing. It's crazy to see some of the building blocks
Yeah.
of
Let's
what
stuck
the show
around.
has become and the ease at which we kind of do it now, that we're all stumbling blocks here.
And I will say that even back then, listening back to our episodes, I didn't think anything bad about them because I had heard so many very bad podcasts were just, and that they've been around for tons of episodes and were just completely bad quality, completely no interesting content. And ours has gotten a lot better, but man, there were still worse ones out there because it was still the early days of podcasting. That it wasn't that popular yet, you know? So I think we did fine for what we were. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, for what we were, it was okay.
Yeah.
The building blocks are there, and thank God we did something with them.
We stuck
And
with it.
restacked a little bit. You know, it's funny to realize that like that first episode didn't have trailer reviews. That first episode didn't have nerd news.
Yeah.
Didn't have radical recommends.
Well, it was just us kind of introducing ourselves, but then doing a lot of long question and answer segments.
Meandering. Just meandering.
Yeah.
I can't believe I used to put together games like that. Ugh.
You're a much better creative producer now.
Well, it's just very fast. Everything's quick.
Yeah.
Nothing takes that long. Everything's like a one-word answer and nothing really matters.
People's attention spans are too short for that shit.
Well, nothing relies on real knowledge anymore, I think, on this show.
No.
Because we don't have any of that.
We don't have time for real knowledge.
Only what we've shoved into our heads. So I thought, Jarman and I, it was important to us that we thank all the people that have been with us on this journey.
Absolutely. And you want to switch off here, Steve, I think, with
we made what I hope is a comprehensive list.
Yes.
Of everyone that has been on the show, people we've guested on their show, people who've written in, reposted, supported. So here it goes. So the first one, our very first guest, Cameron Fisher, who was a dungeon master who joined us for like episode 7 or 8 to talk about D&D.
Yeah, he was my first DM online when I just left college, and he's a real smart guy. He made his own campaigns and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And then we had the magical Alex Rapatoni, the insightful Stephen Barnett, as Stephen puts this, the mysteriously charming Bri Pie Thompson, and the enchanting Jessica Horgan.
Those are your words, by the way. I copied that from the website.
And I think that was at a party I was at, and I was interviewing all these other nerdy friends of mine, and it was just kind of like a ask nerdy questions to these people at a live party, because we were experimenting with kind of doing live interviews that didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, that was a short bit.
That was the thing, yeah.
Ryan Porter from Positively Nerdy. I see a note here that you finally found him. Ryan, we thought disappeared.
Yes, he had a great show called Positively Nerdy, and he was a comic book expert. And we had him on to talk about comic books one time. And then suddenly he had this big presence on different podcasts he would guest on, and he just disappeared for years. And finally, I'm on TikTok now, and it says recommended friend, and it says at Positively Nerdy, and then his name next to it, Ryan Porter. I'm like, what? And so I looked at there's a few TikToks on there, but not much. There's no faces or anything, and he doesn't talk. I think it's just kind of like pictures and stuff. And I was like, so I immediately followed him, and he followed me back. But we haven't said anything to each other. But I'm just like,
well, Ryan Porter, I hope you come back. Positively Nerdy was such a great presence in the early show. We talk about it a lot.
Good guy. Very good guy.
All right.
Next one, we have Kristen Bazzaio, who was a professor of mine at college, and she did a whole kind of expose articles and talked about Gamergate, which was a thing back then in 2014, 15, something like that, where there was just huge amounts of chauvinism in the gaming industry, and it blew up in everyone's faces. And she came to talk about it as a feminist and a real smart person. And she was actually married to a guy who worked for Blizzard. And so it was a great conversation. Got a lot of fun, negative feedback from, dumb incels on the internet. It was just fun.
I think Dr. Ian Cohen.
Correct.
Was he a doctor? Yeah, Dr. Ian Cohen, who at the time was not a doctor, I don't think.
Possibly not, yeah.
But we did a episode about science, and he, as a scientist, was so offended that he had to come on and correct us.
Yes. He was a friend of mine from college, and he's in plays with me and stuff, and he's a real life rocket scientist.
And to this day, I think he still holds the best score on any one of our games with 9 out of 10.
That's true. We asked him science questions to try to stump. Oh, no, it was technobabble or real science terms.
And we just gave him technobabble or real science words, and he got it 9 out of 10.
He's like, no, that's bullshit. That's not a real thing.
Yeah, that's not a real thing. You can't just put the word chrono in front of something and have it be science.
You just flip the manifold, right? That's how that works.
Yeah, and I think you still listen, and we really still appreciate it.
And he's still doing awesome things with solar sails back in the day, and now just more things with like the JPL. He's amazing, cool guy. And then we have Jeffrey Combs. He's a friend of mine I met through mutual friends back in the day, another comic book expert. We had, I think, for 2 episodes at one point.
2 episodes, yeah.
Just when new Marvel movies are coming out, he would give us kind of a background on the history of these characters that people might not know as well. And he was just a wealth of knowledge in that stuff. So thanks for coming on, Jeffrey.
And speaking of wealth of knowledge, for one of our early Star Trek episodes, we had Chris Mitchell from the 10 Forward podcast, which we would in the future get more people from.
Yeah, and he was one of my favorite guys in these podcasts because he was just really funny, biting sense of humor. And I got to meet him once when he came down to Orlando. He's from the good old UK. And who's this guy? The next one. You take the next two, Steve, because they're
Dan
friends of yours.
Armerding and Josh Smith, friends of mine from college. Dan came on and schooled us about beer. To this day, I'm going to say he's like the most impressive expert we've had on.
Yeah, he knew that
It
stuff.
blew me away.
That science, down to the niche of beer extremely well.
And then Josh Smith, who talked us through the process and the more sort of artistic level that comes with wine.
And discussing whether wine is all bullshit or not. But I think
so. Thank you to both of them. I appreciate it.
And then for episode 56, we had our writers at the time for our website. We had found writers online, some, people like us who did this just because of the passion of it. We weren't getting paid for it. They wrote like nerdy reviews and stuff on our website for things. Ben Tuchenhagen, Garrett Yoshitomi, and Kaylin Cassandra. Kaylin stuck around the longest. She did like reviews for Supernatural and stuff on our website for the longest time. And they still get like views occasionally, which is awesome. So thanks for that, you guys. That was great.
We had musician Mark with a C.
Yes.
On to talk about the nerdy music scene and what it was like.
And he's still kicking out there if you look him up online, and he's going through some hard health times, so you can support him by buying some of his indie music and stuff. So check him out, Mark with a C. Cool guy. And we have Ryan Rowe and Joe Hennes from the Great Muppet Enthusiasts over at Tough Pigs. And they boosted our numbers there for a bit coming on the show because they have a giant following over there at Tough Pigs.
Oh, yeah. They got like 10 podcasts over there. It's crazy.
Yeah. So that was a fun one.
We had more Star Trek experts come over from 10 Forward, including, again, Chris Mitchell, but Matt Hansen and Paul Wright.
Yeah, Matt Hansen, now a full attorney out there, does less podcasting. And Paul Wright, who's this guy? I don't know who that is. That's weird.
I don't know. Sounds like some UK weirdo.
Great guy. And then we had Jerry Herrera. He was also a writer for the website. Really funny guy, lives in LA. He was a paparazzi for a while, but he hated it because it's so just soul stealing. So he doesn't do that anymore. But he did the Stuff and Things podcast with me for a bit, a little spinoff show we did about reviews of the Walking Dead episodes that came out.
And he came and guested on, I think some sort of superhero episode on.
Yeah, something like Avengers or something like that, possibly. But
then we've got from our time where we were in Twitch.
Yes.
Jackie, Ethan, Ricky, Cole, and Dorothy, who all streamed on the Play on Nerds channel. And then Patrick's also in that crowd. But so thank you to all four of them for contributing to that very strange chapter.
Yeah, that was while I was in that office space with my booth, and I had a full studio with streaming going on. I was producing streams, and they were really high quality that no one watched, but we had a hell of a lot of fun while we were doing them. So thanks for doing that,
I'm
guys.
sure.
Then we had Sean Vanderloo. He came on to do a couple episodes. He did the Muppet Trek with us, and also he did a movie review that got lost to time, one of our only lost episodes, The Postman, because he himself is a postman for the Canada Post, and he came on to talk about that movie, and we lost the recording. So that was the only time that ever happened.
Well, I think what it was is you and I recorded the whole Postman review, and we were going to come and have him just do his, and we lost the Postman review. So all we have is his interview.
Is that what it is? I just post that.
I think that's what it is.
That's funny.
Louis Scadio, who was a fellow podcaster from the Robot vs. Dinosaur podcast. He came and guested on Muppet Track. Thank you, Louis.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure having you.
And of course, we'll thank once again our three amigos here. We have Sean Vanderloo, Paul Wright, and Daniel Peter Hitch, who have done the many podcasts themselves, starting all off on 10 Forward.
Sci-Fi Waffle, Rusted Robot, Temporal Trek,
Soul Forge,
Cosmic Pizza,
and the Epsilon 3 podcast.
The Epsilon 3 now, the Epsilon 5 review show, Epsilon 3.
Babylon 5, yeah.
Babylon 6.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for sticking around as long as you have.
Yeah, man. You're our solid international fan base.
Absolutely.
And then Mike Jarek, who has retweeted every single one of our episodes for basically the last decade.
I know, it's awesome because he shows every time he listens to an episode that he's listening, and sometimes he'll even post episodes on their own that he's listening to of ours. And it's just always nice to have a little reminder that, hey, someone's out there listening, they're not
like a real person,
and we really appreciate it, Mike. So thank you so much for that. And one huge thank you we have to give is to Mr. Raul Julia. Oh my gosh.
That's right. From one of our very early episodes, Copycat Cinema, we did Street Fighter versus Double Dragon and fell in love with Raul Julia's performance. And somehow it has just penetrated every layer of the show.
Makes no
and
sense.
as a reference, and that was like episode 6 or something like that.
Can't believe it was that long ago.
So it has stayed with us so long, and he is now an integral part of our trailer review section.
And to a lesser extent, Mr. Gary Busey.
Mr. Gary Busey, thank you for being the perfect foil to our dignified and for some reason slightly British Raul Julia.
I don't know when Gary Busey became a part of it. I don't know how.
I don't know either. I feel like we watched something with him in it and it just stuck.
I don't remember ever seeing a movie with him in it, but we must have.
I don't know, man. And on a personal note, I want to thank my wife, Anna, who has put up with a decade of podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting quietly, trying to not to make noise while we record. Right now, she's watching like a painting show very quietly in the background. And so thank you for all the support, love, and listening and being a sounding board and putting up with it. And then a special thanks to my mom, who does still listen to episodes, even when I say, Mom, don't listen to this episode.
That's right. Especially our sappy crap episodes.
That's right.
Pretty personal. And I had the same kind of thing. My mom was always there during these last 10 years where ups and downs in my life, obviously, like drinking and being depressed and not getting the work I needed to get done. And she just kind of supported me, and it was an emotional support and also like just financially enough to where I could, get on my feet, and now I'm completely independent and making good money on my own. And I'm very privileged white boy in that sense, but she was just, kicking me in the butt when I needed it to. And also just so I could do this podcast. This was always a kind of a constant throughout that process, that I could hang out with you, Steve, and do this thing. And it wouldn't be possible without her. And as a consequence, also my stepdad, Scott, because he was, there throughout the stuff, shaking his head at me. Oh, he'll get there someday, I guess. And then my wife, who was, she always understood when you just set time away for this podcast. And she's always same kind of thing with Anna, where she's like, yeah, do your thing, do that, whatever that is middle-aged white men need to do to feel good about yourselves, So she's been very supportive about it. And she gives me new ideas for news segments and game ideas and stuff as well. And of course, I want to thank Steve, because you've done a lot of work for this. He's always there to remind me the podcast is happening.
Every Thursday. And he's always got some great ideas to pump out into this thing, because we kind of fell into a nice rhythm where I do more of the technical side of things, and he's there to help push more of the creative ideas of what we're going to do for the next show, and kind of be the pushing force for scheduling. And it really kind of evens out with our, just our thought process and emotional load for this podcast, and to make it more fun and not just a chore to do. So that's been great. And it's our way of keeping in touch with each other over 10 years, which is great. Oh yeah. I try to think about what our friendship would be if we didn't have this. And I honestly don't know.
I know. You could fall to the wayside,
because
like anybody
before
can.
we were doing this, we were playing video games together occasionally, chatting occasionally, but occasionally is very much the optimal word.
Especially like in college, when we kind of drifted apart a little bit more, and this just kept us in touch with each other. Like we had a scheduled time we were going to spend time together, and we purposely stick in that thing in the beginning of each episode. What have you been up to? Because we want to know what you've been up to. We want to hear about our friend. So it really is nice.
That's right. So I'm going to ask a big question, sort of send us off. What do you think the next 10 years have for us?
The next 10 years. I mean, we don't know, because A Play on Nerds, it has gone and come back in different forms because we've done other shows instead, but it's always been around in some form or fashion. And I think there's a possibility that might do that kind of thing again, or we'll just kind of evolve this show even more. But I think we enjoyed doing it too much to stop doing it. And I don't see either of us having more time on our hands to make it a bigger thing, like, get more advertising or.
Oh, like maybe once my kids are out of high school or whatever.
Yeah. So in 10 years, when the kids are, starting to get towards that more independent side, we have more time on our hands. Maybe it'll get more of a big thing, but otherwise it'll be kind of what it is now. Just a little more, it'll change as we change, I think. What about you?
No, I agree. I think a Play on Nerds main show, maybe it'll take another hiatus at some point, but it will be because we have some other thing we want to try.
And we won't abandon it entirely. It'll be there in some portion.
Hey, maybe we'll finally get real opposition going again. Who knows?
I'll release that episode that's still recorded.
One episode from 3 years ago.
Someday, that one Police Academy, I think it was.
Police Academy. It was Police Academy.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I agree. I think the show is going to continue to grow and evolve, and we'll take breaks and we'll come back. And we'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And, for our listeners that are listening to Muppet Trek, I've talked about it. We have the next 18 years of runway figured out or something like that.
Yeah. It's like that temporal Trek thing that just could keep going forever.
It's just going to keep going forever and ever. So at the very least, we're going to bring you that. Even if we stop doing the main show and switch to just doing that every week, it would still be 9 years before we ran out of stuff.
It's true.
So, and that's not because we ran out of Trek. It'll be because we ran out of Muppet stuff.
Eventually. Yeah, that might happen.
But no, I'm grateful for the podcast. I'm grateful for what it's meant. And I'm, truly grateful that we have, a living time capsule sort of.
Yeah. Cause we were just saying the other
of
day,
our lives.
In 10 years, we'll listen to, the next to the last episode. Maybe not this one, because maybe we will listen to this one and comment on our comments.
20 years we'll live listen to us live listening to episode 1.
It just becomes Inception. 30 years, it's like 3 episodes.
Be so confusing. We'll never know which age of us is the one talking. It'll be fucking awful.
Yeah, we will, because we'll sound like this.
Our voice will just keep getting lower. Man, those guys sounded like babies.
Wait, pause it. I said a P.
Yeah, I gotta stretch my hips doing that thing.
Oh my God.
But keep on coming back and being our nerdy audience. And I plan to give you another 10 years of being your nerdy co-host.
And
thanks
promise
again,
you,
Matt.
we're nerds. We're so nerdy.
We're definitely nerds. So we're like nerds or whatever. No big deal.
So stay fucking nerdy, my friends. Oh God. Of course, in the 10-year episode. There we go.
Thanks for listening to A Play on Nerds. Feel free to email feedback at aplayonnerds.com with all your questions or comments.
Shoot us a message on Facebook or Twitter and earn yourself a sweet shout out on the show.
Review us on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts so even more nerds can find us. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, we aren't picky.
Check out our entire back catalog and other offerings at aplayonnerds.com.
And how?